vomit it out of you. I don't know why I just did the vomit like noise on your show. I hope people watching this are at least entertained. So I wrote this song, and of course, true to form for my love life, it totally did not work out with this person at all. Yeah, you know.
But you got to kiss. So
I did. We did get to kiss. I did get some other good songs out of that situation as well. So,
was it a good kiss?
Keeping those private. I think it was. This was years ago. Maybe. There may have been some wine involved in the kissing. I don't know. Like, you know, things happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I liked it at the time. I mean, now, and it's always funny when you go back. I don't know if you've done this, but like the hindsight is 2020. When you go back, you're like, oh, we would have actually been really terrible together. Like you have this, but we had to kiss so that I could write songs.
Right. Yep. You gotta have that.
Like they were like, you know what, Amy, it's been a little while since you've written a happy song. Maybe we should write a happy song. And
no, it's funny. I said this last week to somebody that I've said it to my wife a few times. She'll be like, hey, you haven't written a song in a while. I'm like, we haven't had a fight.
Yeah.
Haven't had anything to talk about.
Can you totally like just piss me off for just one day?
Yeah.
And then we'll make up and it'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
No, so I wrote this song, and this actually was just, I was in that kind of euphoric, like, oh my gosh, like it's happened. This is great. Like, and we're gonna be so happy together. Like I really went full on like Lifetime movie with this thing. It was
nice.
It was, or no, maybe not Lifetime, maybe Hallmark movie. Lifetime gets creepy. Like I went full, like
Lifetime does get creepy.
It does. And I've actually, like I've sung a song for a Lifetime movie, but like every Lifetime movie starts off really good and then it has a twist and you're like, whoa, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. And there's a massive tragedy, but you come out the other end.
This would be like the Hallmark Christmas movie song. Like this is like the super, everything's perfect. Nobody lies. Nobody's unhappy. Like everybody's a great person song. So I wrote this song. It's called Forever Friend. And I did a little play on the words of like, you know, when you try to find your life partner, you ultimately want your best friend, right? And so I just kind of thought, I was like, okay, my best friend, like my forever friend. And I kind of just played off of that a little bit in this song. And I wrote this one by myself because at that time I couldn't tell people that I kissed this person. So I was like,
okay.
You know, like, and also the song was written so fast that I didn't need anybody's help with it. So
well, that's a good thing though.
Yeah. Sometimes do you still write songs by yourself or do you only co-write now?
I do both. Do both. The last record I put out was at 3 a.m. record. Like I'm going to close down a studio, on board for the night, nothing. And then, what's that? And you're like, holy all cow. Of a sudden, here's a record.
Yeah, there you go. That's how it happened.
Yeah.
All right. So here's Forever Friend.
All right.
And this is the way that I wrote the song originally. It's actually recorded much more of a heavy pop version on the album. So.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Forever Friend.
Thank you. It's no secret that I like you, that I try to get you to fall for me. And every time that I'm around you, I'm inclined to say what I really think. So here it goes. I just want to know, do you want to be my best friend? My forever friend, I'ma spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. No, we don't have to overthink it, cause everything is the way it's supposed to be. And if we sit back and let it happen, we may find we're exactly what we need. So tell me, darling, oh, what do you think? Do you want to be my best friend? My forever friend, I'ma spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do. You and I've had so much time with it. We should probably make up our minds with it. So let's give it a try. And maybe spend the rest of our lives being best friends, forever friends. Spend every day together, friends. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Well, come on and be my best friend, my forever friend. I'ma spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you.
Nice. That is such a bouncy, fun song.
Isn't it fun? And it was just that, like, it's just happy. It's like the, you know, it's like the Jason Mraz, I'm Yours. Like, it's just a happy feel.
I kept hearing Mraz and Train, Pat Monahan and Mraz.
At
the same time as you were doing that.
Yeah, well, and those, I mean, I love Jason. I love a lot of his stuff, and same with, you know, Train. So I kind of wanted it to have that, and also like Colby Calais. I wanted that whole kind of beachy, light, happy. I'm just happy.
Well,
vibe,
you accomplished it. Mission accomplished.
Thank you.
All right, so which one's next? Now we're going into the sappier.
We're gonna deep. I don't know. We're not gonna get sappy.
Deep. Okay.
No, we're going deep here. So I wanted to play a song that I've been getting a lot of requests for recently, because it goes back to what I talked to you about briefly earlier. Is that, you know, you get to a point as an artist, you're like, okay, I've written a lot of songs for me. Like, what else can I contribute? Like, what are some topics that I feel like are important that we as artists have an opportunity to talk about? So you think about like all of the artists from the 70s and Woodstock, and like people, when, I don't know, does this bother you? I get ADD, so if my brain gets a little, well, that's why. When people say music and politics shouldn't mix, I get so mad.
No.
I'm just like, well, then what else are you going to listen to? Because if you go back through history, hundreds and hundreds of artists have meshed social issues, politics, religion, like anything into music. That's the point. We're supposed to, like you said, talk about all of life.
Yeah.
And so this song was one of those songs I had originally started. This is a song called Enough. And I had originally started writing this song from my own personal perspective of a lot of the contradictions I was hearing about being a woman in music. And, you know, like, you got to look a certain way. I mean, you got to sound a certain way. You got to, you know, what's the next newest thing? And I started getting a little frustrated because I felt like, and I'm sure this is a male musician issue as well, but I felt like as I was trying to grow, I started losing who I was a little bit, because I was trying to almost conform my image or my sound to what was popular at the moment, and not really being true to who I was. And it started frustrating me. I remember I'd had a meeting with someone who basically told me I was just too old to be an artist.
I got that same line.
Did you get that? I got that you're too old to be an artist, but you're too young to be a songwriter. And I was like in my early 30s. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what?
That's right when I heard it too.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't really make sense though, because like music shouldn't have an age attached to it at all. Like, because I mean,
my first record came out, I was 34. Everybody's like, you missed it.
Unbelievable. I think that if you are in your 80s and you want to put out some music, put out some music.
Absolutely.
You know, like do it because you love it. So anyway, but there were these contradictions, and so I kind of started writing this song about me not wanting to lose myself, and it just didn't feel right. I took some of those lyric ideas, scrapped them, or put them. I might use them later for another song. I do that quite a bit as well. If something doesn't work in one song, I'll usually just file it away, and if I remember it and it sounds good for another song, I'll use it there. But I opened up a conversation on Facebook, because I knew that when I started this song, the idea for the album, this is also on the Hold On EP. And when I went into the studio with the guys, I said, you know, I kind of have an idea of the framework of how I want this album to look. Like, I know I want a happy song. I know I want a motivational song. I know I want an angry, like Don't Mess With Me song.
We need to have your chick song. You got to have your chick song.
You got it. I still have to be true to me,
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to have a song on the album that I wrote about my mom and all this stuff. And it was a 5-song EP. So I really wanted to have this song or something similar to this on the album. And I told the guys about it, and I put out, because this was a long recording process. It took, the good time of a year to get the whole thing done. And I put out this Facebook post, and I said, let me put some feelers out. Let's just get some feedback from people. And I said, ladies, I know the contradictions I face being a woman in music. What are some of the contradictions you hear with your life? Like, what are some of the things that frustrate you about being a woman? What are some things that, you feel like you want to give a voice to? Because I can't speak for all women. And within a matter of days, there were hundreds of replies from women from all walks of life, women saying they felt like they couldn't stand up for themselves and speak out, women saying that they felt like they, were being undercut by their male counterparts at work. And not even just a male-female thing. There were women saying they felt like they were judged by other women because they weren't good enough moms, or they weren't good enough at this or that, or wives, or whatever it is. And it was fascinating to read all these comments, because it was like almost a validation of sense of like, wow, we're all not that far away from each other. Like every woman goes through this. And then I started thinking too, I'm like, well, I bet, and this is a whole other topic for a whole other day. I'm sure every male goes through this as well too. I'm sure anybody who doesn't identify with either gender probably goes through this. Like every single person goes through.
I would think like every walk of life goes through something.
Every walk of life, they feel like
has
they're
their
not
thing.
enough.
Yeah,
absolutely. And at this point too, it's that like, wow, it's just enough. Like a lot of it came down to judgment. A lot of it came down to like, why do we try to put people into holes, like a certain box?
Jealousy.
Jealousy, insecurity.
Everybody says that they want to lift each other up, but a lot of times, as soon as somebody steps out of the pack, everybody tries to pull them back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I almost think it's fear versus jealousy. I think it's fear of the unknown.
Okay.
I think it's fear of like, if I open up if I say yes to that, then I have to look internally and be vulnerable. And I think people are very afraid of being vulnerable and open.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. We're not really taught how to do that.
Right.
So anyway, so I put this thing out, and so then it was like, oh, okay, we the producers and I also brought my friend Sarah Williams in, because Sarah and I have written a lot of songs together, and I adore her. So the four of us, are two women and 2 men. We sat down and we're like, okay, let's get this right. We wrote this song probably 5 different times, because we would get to the drawing board, and originally it was going to be this like Lily Allen tongue-in-cheek FU type of song, and we had the kind of structure laid out. We were going there, and then we were in the studio talking one day, and the producers like had this idea. Well, we kind of all were just, I don't actually remember who had the idea, but we were throwing ideas around, and there was the idea of like, well, what if we go back to Facebook again and we say, all right, ladies, if you want to lend your voices to this project, I would love to get some audio recordings of you just saying in the phone anything that you want to say. Absolutely anything. No topic is off limits. Just send me an iPhone voice recording of anything that's important to you in terms of being a woman, and we will put that on the recording.
Wow. Okay.
And all of the recordings we got back, we were ready to do this tongue-in-cheek FU song. And when we started listening to these women and hearing their voices and hearing how powerful, you could hear the emotion behind what they were saying.
Right.
We're like, oh, we can't layer that on top of a FU type of song, like, or on top of like a
tongue-in-cheek,
tongue-in-cheek song like that. This is very serious. Like it's almost like we were evolving as the song was evolving, and it was a really amazing experience. And so we went back to the drawing board again. We scrapped everything down, lowered the BPMs, and really, really just started again. And so the lyrics for this song are a culmination of my experiences and hundreds of women's experiences, and really just the idea of saying, look, enough is enough with judgment, and enough all around. And on top of that too, I like to say this at my shows, this is a basic human being issue. This is not Like, this isn't male versus female. Like, granted, yes, there are some unequal dynamics there, and there's some crappy men out there, but there's some wonderful men out there that are incredibly supportive of women and want to see that, you know, that are very, very, very much on our side, you know, and very much like, yeah, you guys probably should be getting paid the same as us. Weird.
Absolutely.
You know? But it's also a female dynamic. Like I said before, this is an all-encompassing, the one theme I want anybody to get from this song is that we all need to just start treating each other as human beings, love each other as human beings, respect each other as human beings. So that's that. I'll get off my podium now.
This is the place for your podium.
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly.
But we wrote this song to piano. I'm going to play it on guitar, so it's going to sound a lot different from the album.
Okay.
I highly recommend everybody go listen to the track. It's on Spotify and iTunes. And here. And
don't forget, like I say every week, right down here in the scroll is Amy's information. So make sure you grab her website and go see her.
Yeah, I definitely go check out what the producers did. Kit and Chip did such an incredible job layering those vocal recordings, and they're layered at the beginning of the song and they're layered on the outro, and it's chilling the way they put that together. And so anyway, so here is Enough.
All right.
Look at you, you've got such a pretty face. Just as long as your makeup stays in place. Suck it in, girl, you better tighten up that waist. Show it off, but don't give it all away. And you should smile all the time. Don't complain, just say you're fine. This is ridiculous, so all the pressure that's put on us, enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged. For every single thing, it's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Go to work in the heels that never fit. Be a boss, but you better not be a bitch. Get a raise, they'll think you slept for it. And either way, you'll never make as much as him. If you want kids, you better plan to stay at home. If you're not married, there must be something wrong. This is ridiculous. All the pressure that's put on us, enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged. For every single thing, it's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Whoa. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Speak your mind and speak it loud. Don't ever let them drown it out. The way you live is up to you. It's your life, your right to choose. The day has come, time is up. I'm a woman and I won't shut up. Enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged. For every single thing, it's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Are you listening? Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
awesome.
That
there's a lot of great lines in that song.
Thank you.
But
yeah,
the one that stuck immediately with me was "Be a boss, but don't be a bitch." I was like, ooh.
And like I said, I think that may have been verbatim, like taken from one of the comments on Facebook. A lot of that stuff is just, and like there was so many women were like, I'm so tired of somebody telling me I need to smile more. Like, when does like that? I know. Okay, I just want to do a PSA for everybody. When you tell someone that they would look prettier if they smiled more often, and what you meant to say is you have a pretty smile, it doesn't come out the same way. Like you by telling someone, oh, you should smile, it's basically saying you don't really look good when you're not smiling, or you're not allowed to be upset or angry or whatever it is. It's like we really we've got to be more careful and more intentional behind the things that we say to people, you guys. Like it irks me a lot.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, like the lines that struck me, being someone, I'm in my late 30s, I just turned 38. So the whole, like, if you're not married, something's wrong with you. Like if you want to have kids, you have to stop working. Like those are things you're like, why? Like, why do we always assume those types of things? I had for years, when I was dating, people were like, if I would meet a guy who was single or had never been married and he was in his 30s or 40s, they'd be like, well, what's wrong with him? I'm like, nothing, hopefully.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
No.
But that's that old school mentality.
Oh, totally, 100%. So, but yeah, that I'm really, really happy with that song and how it came out.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I have plans, like always, to do a music video eventually. I think I'm going to be one of those people, John. I've thought about this recently. I'm just going to break the mold, because you know how they say you should only, they say, technically how it's done. You release an EP or a song, a single, then you release the video for the single, and then you move on to the next thing. And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. So eventually I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a video for Loving Myself. I'm going to do a video for Enough. And I don't care if it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Like, who cares?
Oh, I've got, especially now with the technology we have, I'm like, man, I could go back and do videos for all these songs I never did things for.
It's crazy. And then lyric videos, like the lyric video you played earlier for Hold On.
That's a great video.
My friend Paul Fowl actually created that video for me, and it was so much cheaper using like his programming and stock video than it was for me to like get dolled out to be in a music video.
Yep.
Like I got the same point across.
Funny thing. So I did I hired for my last release. I did a video on one song, Don't Ask Why, and it was my angry album. After 2 albums of sugary, singy pop stuff, my muse got angry, and I wrote an angry album.
You always got to go through your angry phase.
So I wrote an angry hard rock album. And I went to Fiverr, and I used somebody off Fiverr to make me an anime video because I thought it would go cool with how aggressive the song was.
Yeah.
And with my phone, my wife shot me with a in a dark room with a strobe light, and then she cut that into this anime footage. It cost me $75 and got me 30,000 views.
I've got to get on Fiverr for sure.
It was the most viewed video I've ever done. It cost me $75.
Well, for Forever Friend, I already have the visuals that I want to do a video with like dogs and cats, but like not just normal dogs and cats, like the ones that are dressed up in silly costumes and acting like human beings.
Yep.
Totally want to do that. Those video clips are a little harder to find and you have to pay a little more money for them. But I also thought like it'd be really cool to do a video one day for like one of my like a music video with, do you remember the troll dolls?
Yeah.
Like how we have the troll, but like not even like an animated troll with like the troll movies, but like having somebody just like walking the troll dolls around the video. Like having it be so low budget that it's just like, oh, you can see somebody's hand like moving this stuff. And then maybe it's not troll dolls, maybe it's like Barbie and Ken, who knows? But yeah, I've totally thought about that. I'm like, because sometimes those weird low budget videos are the ones that everybody watches.
So much fun. Who was it that did the treadmill video?
Okay.
Okay, Go.
Okay, Go. Yeah.
They had like a $200 budget.
Brilliant.
Just did the treadmills. That was it. One camera, one shot, go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times they actually had to do that routine though.
Yeah,
so
that had to practice.
Practice for days. Ugh.
But it's not always the high budget stuff. So.
It's not always the high budget stuff. You're absolutely right.
All right, we have one song left. We're going over time today. Guys, if you're watching the show, we're going over time. I don't care. So
I'm like, I don't even know what time it is. I put this on full screen. I can't even see
No, we've been having so much fun talking that we're just going to keep going.
Thank you. All right. Well,
I think this is the last show that gets to go on Facebook.
Stop it.
Because starting July 5th, which is next Sunday, we're exclusively on Roku. So we're going long on Facebook today, kids. That's just the way it's going to be.
You got to go get your Rokus.
Yeah.
Do it.
So you're getting a little more Amy today. More Amy for our last Facebook show.
I'm very long-winded too, so I take after my grandmother. We like to tell really long stories.
Well, you and I'm ADD OCD, so we both have that same like squirrel thing going on,
Girl. I know it's and it's been a little rougher now that I've kind of cleaned up my diet so much that I haven't needed to take my medicine much. But every now and then I'll have a bad day where I'm like, oh, I probably should have taken my Adderall this week. What's happening? So but this last song, we'll just get ADD again, talking about Adderall. This is a song called Loving Myself, and this was kind of the catalyst for me. Some of my story. This was the catalyst that dove me into the pop music, that dove me into my mission, my why, everything we talked about earlier on the show about self-love. Years ago when I was living in Atlanta, I went through a bad breakup. And I had this moment when I was on the road. I put all my stuff in storage. I got on the road, and I was at this point where I was like, I'm just going to tour for 6 months, and I'm going to move to Nashville after that. This is pre-Nashville move. And I think when you go through a breakup, it's very, very easy to blame the other person for everything that happened, whether they did cause all those issues or not.
Right.
But with that, I had started realizing, like, okay, I can blame him for everything, or I can kind of look inward and see what are some things I can change about myself. And that maybe I don't even need to change much. Maybe
it's something a lot of people will never do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't, because we're so hurt, and it's hard to step out of that hurt. But a friend of mine had sent me this TED Talk right at the same time. And it was by a woman, Tracy McMillan. I don't know if you follow her. She's incredible. But she did this TED Talk called The Person You Really Need to Marry. And obviously, you guys are going to pick up on this, that at the end of the TED Talk, it's yourself. It's developing a relationship with yourself. And I realized when I watched this TED Talk that I had a really crappy relationship with me. I had a lot of self-image issues. Ever since I was young, and I kind of didn't even realize that I had them. I shamed myself a lot. I beat myself up a lot. I was constantly, like in college, I was living off diet pills and ramen noodles. I was constantly trying to change my external appearance, and nothing was working. And I remember when I was, I basically had gotten to Nashville, and I mean, I was still touring at this time. I was playing music. I knew you at this time of my life as well.
Well, when did we meet? We were talking about this the other day. Was it 2008?
It was 2008 on the Rock Boat.
Okay.
Yep. Cabin show on the Rock Boat.
Yes.
We were all jamming out. It was amazing.
That's not. I know I introduced you to Brian Ficino, and you wound up taking him like out on the road a million times.
Yep. So Brian on the road. Brian and I did 3 projects together as a producer, or him.
He produced one of my records too.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Such a great guy. But at this time, people would post videos and photos of me, and I would just cringe. And the worst part about it, the big eye-opening part of it was that years would pass, and I'd go back and I would find those photos and videos again, and I'd be like, wow, I actually looked and sounded really good. But in the moment, I was beating myself up and shaming myself. And so I made this conscious decision when I moved to Nashville that I no longer wanted to be this person anymore. I didn't want to be somebody that spent my entire life obsessing over my external appearance, and being someone that really focused so much on things that at the end of the day don't really matter. Like, what we look like, granted, there's a bit of vanity too. We want to feel comfortable, but we can't, like, you have your entire life, like, focus on who you are inside, focus on loving who you are and loving every bit of you. Like,
yes,
every single bit. Like, I mean, it took me a lot of work and years of work. And on this journey, which is why I'm so passionate about wanting to coach other people on this journey too, or on their journeys. But along this time frame, about a year into my self-love journey, we did the album Fire that came out in 2017, and Chip and Kit also produced that album. And I had written this song with my friend Sarah Williams, and who co-wrote Enough as well. Sarah Williams and Michelle Pereira. I didn't know it at the time that this would become an anthem for me. I didn't know that the more I sang it, the more it was helping me and helping other people. But we wanted to write a song for this album, and I knew it before the song was written, but I was like, guys, this is the journey I'm on. And it goes back to the, what am I really singing about? What are the messages I want to get out to people? And I was like, I want to write a song for any woman, any man, any little boy, any little girl, anybody who regardless of their gender, their sexual preferences, their race, any of those things, anyone who struggles with their self-image, I want to write a song for them to know that, one, they're not alone, and it's okay. Like, and also a lot of the, this I talk about in this song, you'll hear the way I sing it. It kind of says a you, like I use you a lot, like you tried to break me, you tried to do this. A lot of that isn't always the outside people. A lot of that's up here, like your own internal demons, your own internal voice. There was kind of a combination of really being able to shut up other people's opinions of you and shut up the lies that you've been telling yourself as well. So this is a song called Lovin' Myself. And I guess we'll take the show out on this. I have to capo. I forgot it's in a different key. This is also, John, how you said to keep yourself from writing the same key. The capo. Just move it up and down.
Yep.
Little trick I learned. Just thought I'd tell you.
All right. So what's this called again?
Loving Myself.
Loving Myself. Ooh. Here we go.
Yes. You tried to break me. You tried to tear me down. You tried to shake me. You hoped I wouldn't make a sound, but I've got my own voice. And yes, I have a choice on whether or not to let you in. I'm putting myself first instead. So go ahead and try to do your worst. You are never gonna make me hurt. And I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way. And you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, You tried to break me. Oh, wait. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. You claim to like me, but I know you talk behind my back. Well, I'm through with fighting you. I don't have to live like that. I can rise above. And I got so much love to give, and you can't knock me down. I'm a fire you can't put out, so go ahead and try to do your worst. I'm not threatened by your big bad words, and I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, 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 loving myself. Ooh, yeah. Y'all can sing along at home. Oh, you can't stop me. No, they can't stop me. No one can stop me. I'm singing no way. I'm going my own way. And you can't stop me. No, you can't stop me. I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way. And you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself,
Nice. The whole time I was sitting here like
yeah, like I got it.
It's just got that that's got an awesome groove.
Thank you.
And I love the message in that song.
Thank you. I do too. And it's funny because I kind of just created my own guitar groove because there's also a piano song on the track or on the album.
Okay.
And I totally just forgot, like, Enough and Loving Myself are such high songs. And I thought for today, I was like, oh, I'm only going to sing 4 songs. I don't need to do a vocal warm-up. And I'm like, ah! Towards the end of that song, I was like, I think this is getting a little pitchy, but you know what? I love myself, and it's totally fine.
Yep. You ever go back, like, I'll listen to some of my first albums, and I was so high, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Oh, I remember, I have a whole album I did in college that only 1,000 people have heard. And that was when I was like, oh, I think I'm going to mess with time signatures and I'm going to be like super artsy with my creative. When you're young, you're like, what can I do that's different from everybody else?
Yeah.
Change up the time signature, do some key modulations. And I remember there's a song I sing now. It's called Already Yours, that it was off an EP I did with Brian. And I capoed on 1. Why? No reason. I don't even sing it like in that key anymore. So the key that we recorded it in, for some reason I capoed on 1 on the first fret. And I was like, oh, this will be, it's clever. Unbelievable. So, and I remember afterwards too, Brian's like, why did we do that? That's why we did that.
Yep.
But no, yeah. So
But I love the message in that song.
Oh, and Loving Myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people know this. I'm a personal trainer when I'm not playing music these days.
I love it. Yeah.
And so I'm a personal trainer and a life coach, and I do Reiki, massage. And one of the things people, what do you like most about being a trainer? I'm like, honestly, you know what my job is as a trainer? It has nothing to do with push-ups or jumping jacks or burpees or anything like that. My job as a trainer, 98% of my training career so far has been helping people fall back in love with themselves who've lost their way in their own self-journey.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And a lot of them are moms. A lot of them are moms whose kids are getting to a point where she can start to find out herself again and not just be just mom.
Yes.
But it's not just women, it's men too. You know, overall the client, it's people looking for that self-worth again. Yeah. And they're looking at their body image as the first step to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a sad thing that these days that's the measuring stick, the litmus test is what's your waistline. And that's a stupid thing to be judging by.
It's absolutely terrible. But I love what you had said about it not just being women, because I found, and it was something I didn't even think, it's not that I didn't think that men had self-image issues. I knew that what the statistics were. I definitely knew that was there. But I found when I started, like I told you at the beginning of the show, some of my favorite moments are talking to people after the show. And I've had a good number of men come up to me. I've had men be vulnerable and cry in front of me and connect and say, you know, I've struggled with this for such a long time and I understand you. And so I think the core of everything we do comes down to the way we feel about ourselves. And when we can show up for ourselves, we're able to fully show up for other people as well. And that's been like, I mean, it's changed everything for me. It's changed my stage presence. It's changed my songwriting. It's changed my relationships with people. It's changed my vulnerability. It's changed absolutely everything in the way that I do my life. And even in the fitness world of things, like we were talking about this a little bit briefly, but when I came out of that breakup, I had put on a good amount of weight just from stress and drinking and not being healthy and not loving myself, honestly. My weight's always been a yo-yo my entire life. And the minute I started making that not the priority and making me the priority is the minute I actually started losing weight and being healthier and being happier.
Yes.
Because it just happened naturally because I needed to reconnect with me. And so, so I love that you do that. That makes me so incredibly happy because so many people are like, oh, I've just got to I want to put on another 20 pounds of muscle. And you're like, okay, yes, that's good. But shouldn't we also find the why behind all that?
Yeah. So. One of the things I preach at my clients, there's a couple of things. I take words out of their vocabulary. So while you're in the training room, there are words they're not allowed to speak negatives. They're not allowed to speak contractions. Can't, won't, shouldn't. Wish, want, and hope I consider bad words. And I know that sounds weird. But to me, words like wish, I wish I could do it. No, go do. Do it. Really want to. Don't really want to. Do. you know?
Yeah.
Much like you're writing your talk. Mine is driven a lot by Yoda. Do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah.
That's how I've always kind of lived.
Look at you.
But I preach at my clients that one of my biggest goals with them is I want them to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love you.
Yes.
Because most people can't even make eye contact with their own self in the mirror.
I couldn't. I've told this story a couple times. Actually, I was very vulnerable and told this on the rock boat on stage, in front of hundreds of people, and basically had said, when I made that conscious decision in Nashville. Now I'm very fortunate that like there are different levels of self-hatred and self-shaming. I'm fortunate that it never became a health issue for me. It was a mental health issue 100%, but not a physical health issue.
Right.
I know many people that have developed eating disorders and have developed lots of issues to try to fix something that's internal, but with that being said, when I made this conscious decision, I remember the first day of it, the one thing I said to myself was, I'm not going to allow any negative word to come out of my mouth again. I can think it. I can't change my thoughts overnight. If it happens, it's there, but I'm not going to give it a voice. I'm not going to allow it.
What we speak has purpose. We give it a purpose when we speak it.
And I remember standing naked in front of my mirror, trying to find just one thing I liked about myself physically. And it was excruciatingly painful. Like it was to the point where I think the first day I was like, I like my collarbone. Like I think the second day was like, and I did this every day until I could start finding things. I think the next day was like, well, my hair is kind of cool. I had to really reprogram myself. And
that's an awesome journey.
Yeah. And also too, the funny thing is that people that know me didn't know that it was really happening. Like they didn't know that I was in my head a lot about a lot of this stuff. When you go to parties and you're fidgeting with your clothes because you're like, oh my gosh, are my pants too tight? Like, is this, do I look okay? Yep. But a lot of it, I was still me back then. I was still happy. I was still, or tried to be. I just had a very big mental block about the way I saw myself. And so, yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. It sucks to go through, but it's the most rewarding journey you will ever do in your life. And I know that you teach that. That's, it's incredible. But
well, I teach it because I've been through it. When you say, a lot of people don't think guys go through it. We go through it, especially as a performer. When you're standing on stage, wondering, am I good enough?
No.
But you're standing on stage in front of 1,000 people wondering, am I good enough? And you don't think they realize that you're thinking that.
No.
And you know as much as anybody. An audience can look at you and know just by how you give it. And if you can't connect with them, it's on you because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also another layer of it too, because when you're on stage, you almost have to become an actor in that moment. When you're in that negative mental space, I've been so happy that over the course of my journey now, as I've developed that relationship with myself, I am fully showing up as my most authentic self on stage now.
Awesome.
Before, it was like, okay, flip the switch, turn on the actor. I'm like, this is great. I love life. Everything's happy, and you can do that, but only for so long at the expense of yourself. It will come back to bite you, and you can still connect with audiences, I think, but not 100%, not right. The fullest version of yourself.
They can see the lack of being genuine.
Yeah. I've had so many people come up to me and be like, you look so confident now, you look this and that. And they're like, not that you weren't before, and I was like, no, I wasn't. Thank you for saying that. I don't take that offensively at all. Thank you for acknowledging that I've come a long way on my journey. And it's not that the music I wrote wasn't good music or any of that stuff. It was but I just was still growing for me. So
yeah. But 2008 for me. I had a moment in 2008 where I realized that I was on stage for the wrong reasons. I was on stage to try to make them happy.
Yes.
While I was playing music since I'm 5 years old, and I do it because it's what I am. It's not something I do. And it was becoming something I was doing for other people. And then I had a really honest conversation in the mirror one day, and I said, I'm going to stop caring what people think. Not that I'm not going to care what people think, but I'm going to do it for me first.
Yes.
And then hopefully they come along for that journey and that ride with me. And it was like I started connecting. with audiences that I'd never connected with before.
Yep. And you know what's even crazier about that too is that when you start doing things for you, that has now pushed me at least to the point where you can turn around and say, okay, now when I play these songs in front of people, it's not about me anymore. It's about how I can connect with them and serve them through music.
Yep.
It's like, it's a different thing. Cause when you were saying before, like you used to do it for them, and I'm assuming like what I'm gathering, cause I did the same thing, was like, I need to make sure I look cool. I need to make sure I sound cool. I need to make sure that they see me as somebody cool and that they like what I'm doing. And oh my God. And I'm in my head the whole time while I'm singing. Like,
exactly what I was gonna say. I'm so busy thinking on stage, I'm missing the moment.
Yes. And you're like, oh my God, I really hope that this is like coming across the way I hope it comes across. And they don't know that you're thinking that, but that's what's spinning through your brain as you're trying to remember song lyrics and perform and your guitar chords and all those things. But when you get out of that space, then you want to show up on stage for them in an act of service. It's like, it changes. It changes. It flips everything over. And it's such a fulfilling thing. So man, kudos to you. I'm so
thank you too, because there's not a lot who recognize that. And they struggle through it, and then they get bitter about it. You know? So you too, because like it's funny when you and I talk how much I'm like, oh yeah, we've both navigated that same stream. You know? And
definitely.
You know, to see where you are now, and your voice has never been a question. From the minute I heard you sing in that cabin, I was like, oh my God. You know, and your uniqueness. I've never, when you sing, I know it's you. You could be over there and I could be looking that way and I'll be like, that's Amy. You know, you have a voice that is undeniably you.
Thank you so much.
And finding that other part of yourself is only making that voice heard more. Because now it's being heard for its authenticity, not as a product. Not as what we want people to hear it for. Now it's being heard for what it is.
I think that is the giant golden nugget that I think every musician should take away that's watching this, is just be the most authentic version of you that you can be.
Yes.
And in order to do that, build that relationship with you. And you know, and that's it. Actually, that's not even a musician thing. That's anybody watching.
That's a human thing.
That's a people thing.
That's a human thing.
That's definitely a human thing.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Yes.
This is great.
We need to do like something like this for just an inspirational talk. Just like a life coaching show.
100%. Hey, I'm getting into coaching and I have a whole thing I'm gonna run by you.
Okay.
I would love to do this. I could talk about this stuff all day long.
Me too. Well, everybody, again, right down here, Amy's information has been scrolling. Make sure you stop by her website, find her on iTunes, find her on Google, find her on Spotify. She's everywhere. Annie, go to what's your YouTube? Is your YouTube yours?
Yeah, it's I think so. Yes. YouTube user / Amy Gerhartz. My YouTube is about to be completely redone. I've been a bad YouTuber. I'm just gonna I'm not shaming myself. I'm just acknowledging that my skill set has been pushed towards other social media platforms and not YouTube, which is actually more of a search engine anyway. We talked about that.
Right.
But my YouTube is lacking, you guys. But within the next couple of months, it will be, I'm doing a whole overhaul to incorporate a lot more of these talks, to incorporate some just nuggets of life that I can give to other people that hopefully help. And then also we'll have a music section on there as well too.
That's awesome.
But yeah, check it all out. You can find all the links on my website, amygerhartz.com as well. So
there you go. So make sure you go visit. Thank you again for doing this. I want to tell everybody, this is, by the way, you got the extended show today, 90 minutes we're going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That went like a quick 90. I want to say this is our last show on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, not Instagram, on Periscope, and on Twitch in its entirety. I'm going to give you guys nuggets and little things along the way from now on. But starting July 5th, we're exclusively on Plymouth Rock TV on Roku. Make sure you do it. The Facebook page will always be the home base, so make sure you like the Facebook page. You'll be able to keep up with everything. Stay safe, stay well, And by the way, here's the Facebook.
You and I are at this place again. And I don't know how we wind up here every time we say hello. We say goodbye. It's like we're running in an endless circle, trying to find a way through our Xanadu. And here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we can never find our way back home. And why we take a stand when we don't understand what we're even fighting for and dying for. But I will say to you, if you will say to me, with you I wanna be. Trying hard to find some sanity between you and me. Seems the harder we try, the harder we fall. And I don't like this anymore. I'm seeing colors in darkened grays, and I just want this to all go away. But here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we can ever find our way back home. And why we take a stand when we don't understand what we're even fighting for, dying for. But I will say to you, if you will say to me, with you I wanna be. And I don't wanna spend the rest of my life living in this hell. No, I'd rather die. Can we just break down these walls and be? And here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we could ever find our way back home.